Think, Julian, think. What did the script say? What do I open her with? You've rehearsed the line. Make eye contact. Open. Go. Can't do it.
If you need a script, you've already lost. The script dies the moment reality begins. Don't be like Julian. Stay to the end and learn real game. I'll be waiting with a gift.
Speech is a mirror of the soul. As a man speaks, so is he, Publius Cyrus. Most men think game is knowing what to say. It isn't. The moment a man asks for a script, he's already confessed the real problem. Not that he lacks words, not that he needs better banter, sharper lines, cleaner delivery, or more calibrated openers. The confession is deeper than that. He does not trust what will come out of him when reality begins. And that is why the title is true. If you need a script, you've already lost. Because a script is never just language, gentlemen, it's a shield. And it's what a man reaches for when live contact has become too dangerous to meet directly. He thinks that what he's asking for is words. But what he's really asking for is protection from exposure. And that is exactly what the quote means. Speech is a mirror of the soul. Not because speech sounds poetic, because speech exposes structure. A man does not merely use speech, he's revealed through it. The pace of it, the pressure inside of it, the rush to feel silence, the false smoothness, the managed smile, the over-explanation, the humor that is not play but appeasement. The sentence that sounds composed while the energy beneath it is quietly asking for permission. That is the mirror. Not the literal sentence, the condition of the man producing it. And that is why the whole marketplace has a problem backwards. You see, men are taught to think that failure with women is verbal. They're told that they need stronger lines, more confidence, better timing, better technique. But if speech is the mirror of the soul, then the room is never only hearing the words. It is hearing the structure, intention, and energy beneath them. She's hearing whether the sentence came from calm or compensation, from grounded desire or managed performance, from selection or supplication, from a man who is present or a man hiding inside procedure. And that is precisely why scripts fail. Not because the line is always bad, because the line is static and reality is alive. A script only works in a dead environment. A dead environment does not interrupt, does not test, does not shift temperature, does not introduce silence, does not force recalibration while demanding that you stay whole. But reality does. She changes, the room changes, the energy changes, the pressure changes. The moment stops obeying the version you rehearsed in your head. And right there, the script dies. Because if speech is a mirror of the soul, fellas, then reality is the thing that forces the real soul to speak. This is why a script is not preparation at its deepest levels. It's far more devastating than you're led to believe. It is an external substitute for internal command, a prosthetic for fracture. A divided man inserts tactics between himself and the moment because he does not trust direct contact. He wants control without having to become equal to uncertainty. He wants access without exposure. He wants effect without revelation. And that is the humiliation. That is the epidemic among men today. Because what most men call game is often just the management of appearance under fear. And this is where the gentleman game separates completely from every low-grade market teaching men to sound like something they have not yet become. They sell lines because they cannot build men. They sell tactics because they cannot produce presence. They sell verbal mechanics because they have no answer to the deeper problem. The man beneath the technique is void of any real substance that she can genuinely connect with and respect. So they teach simulation. Borrowed tone, borrowed cadence, borrowed directness, borrowed edge, borrowed confidence. But if speech is a mirror of the soul, then borrowed language becomes a confession. Because the man is no longer speaking from being, he's speaking through mediation. And women feel that fracture before men even know that they're leaking it. She's not just hearing the sentence, she's hearing the condition of the nervous system producing it. Whether the pause is held or merely endured, whether the contact is natural or labor, whether the humor is alive or deployed, whether the directness is native or installed, whether the silence has presence in it or panic. Women are not only responding to the wording, they're responding to congruence. And cringe is not bad banter. Cringe is visible incongruence. The words say certainty, the body says contingency, the line says ease, and the energy says, please let this work. That is why so many men misdiagnose the pain. They think that they said the wrong thing. In reality, the deeper pain is that the interaction forced themselves to hear themselves speaking from a level of self they do not yet respect. That is why scripts become addictive, because they offer relief. A man no longer has to become calmer. He can learn calm-sounding phrasing. He no longer has to build grounded desire. He can borrow directness. He no longer has to become dangerous in stillness. He can copy cadence. He no longer has to form a stronger center. He can rehearse the appearance of one.
Do yourself and me a feather. I mean favor. Call these guys, you need them.
The time has come to make a decision, gentlemen. The truth or go back to sleep.
And that is where the real damage begins, and it should terrify you. Because borrowed language does not merely fail socially, it corrupts developmentally. It teaches a man the most dangerous lie possible. You can sound like what you have not yet become. And that lie delays transformation. The pain that should have forced reconstruction gets numbered by technique. The fracture stays upstream, the identity stays divided. The man starts confusing verbal cosmetics with masculine formation. That is why the subject is bigger than dating, fellas. Anywhere fear, uncertainty, and failure encroach, performance appears. Men do it with women, with status, with conflict, with leadership, with hierarchy, with power. Everywhere reality threatens to expose the gap between appearance and being, performance rushes in to cover the wound and stunt the growth instead of force revelation. But if speech is a mirror of the soul, performance can only conceal for so long. Eventually, the mouth reports the truth. The breath shortens, the throat tightens, the smile gets managed. The silence gets broken awkwardly. The voice climbs when the outcome matters too much. The organism always leaks. And that is why the strongest man is not the one with the sharpest line. He's the one whose silence does not collapse, whose pace never outruns his center, who does not sound like he's trying to get anywhere, whose humor is not strategy, whose directness does not smell like effort, and whose words arrive from one integrated place, who does not need to manipulate others to appear like something that he is not. That is the archetype. And that is where the gentleman game begins. Not with manipulation, not with tricks, not with seduction theater, not with degrading women to compensate for weak men, not with making verbally slick guys while leaving them structurally small. The gentleman game begins with a harder law. True game is self-possession under live human consequence. To remain whole under contact, to perceive without scrambling, to desire without leaking, to speak without borrowing, to hold frame without theatrics, to withstand feminine perception without needing to manipulate it. That is class. That is authority. And that is the difference between a gentleman and a performer. The performer is trying to create an effect. The gentleman is the cause that precedes the effect. And that is why the title closes so hard. If you need a script, you've already lost. Because the loss was never that you lacked a better line, gentlemen. The loss was that reality had already become more powerful than your structure. The loss was that you needed mediation between yourself and female contact. The loss was that you could not trust your own speech to emerge from a center strong enough to survive being heard. And that is why Publius Cyrus is mercilessly correct. Speech is a mirror of the soul. A script is an attempt to edit the reflection. Reality destroys the edit. Then the truth speaks. That is the test. That is the exposure. That is the gentleman game. And in the end, every man is heard exactly as he is.
I know I should be attracted to you. You're just not my type, baby girl. You're adorable. I'm going to adopt you as my new baby sister. You're pretty, but I feel like your personality does most of the heavy lifting. Wait, why didn't that work?
Life doesn't have to be this hard, gentlemen. Let us help you. Comment faculty below to receive my special gift. To you.